Well, Trade Union Federation Cosatu is ready to bail out Eskom. They are offering to use workers' pension funds to pay off half of Eskom's debt. Now, the federation says workers' money will not be lost, but to explain why it believes this is so, I'm joined by Cosatu's parliamentary coordinator, Matthew Parks, from our Cape Town studio. Thank you so much, Mr. Parks, for your time, and welcome to the rundown. I mean, when a South African reads the headline, Cosatu wants private pensions to fund infrastructure or to bail out Eskom, I mean, there could be an understandable, surprise or even nervousness there. Why do you believe this is the right solution?
Sure. Look, thank you for having me. I would first say those who oppose our plans to come with alternatives. So far, it's only been Cosatu which has put clear alternatives on how to save Eskom on the table. And we're in a crisis. Eskom can collapse at any stage. If Eskom collapses, it's not only the 44,000 workers who work there whose jobs and families will be at risk, but in fact it's all 12 million South African workers. The entire nation will collapse. Our whole economy is based upon electricity, and Eskom is the supplier, so we cannot afford for it to collapse. So what we have done is to say to government, we are willing to contribute as workers to save Eskom. This is not a new proposal. In fact, workers' funds have been used to intervene many times in the economy to save companies in the private sector, such as Edcon. In fact, workers' funds are invested in ENCA as part of growing the economy. Workers' funds already are invested in Eskom for many years. We currently have about 104 billion rand invested there. And our proposal basically is that we are willing to assist Eskom with this debt crisis, which it cannot afford. We're proposing to government a special finance vehicle where we as workers through the PIC will contribute, where government must also contribute through the Treasury, through the Development Bank, the IDC, that we take 60% of Eskom's debt off the books to allow it to breathe. But our assistance is not a blank check. Our assistance is conditional upon those who have stolen be arrested and thrown in prison, the managers who have mismanaged, who are looting Eskom, be fired, but also that we have a clear turnaround plan to save Eskom, which will not involve retrenching workers, which will allow Eskom to produce its own renewable energy, which will require the coal suppliers and the IPP generators to supply Eskom at a market-related, affordable basis. We should also look at a just transition to protect workers whose jobs are at risk, to look at extending the lifespan of various power stations and so on. So we're intervening to save not only our workers and our members' jobs, but the economy as a whole.
I mean, Mr. Parks, those are just some of the, resolutions that you have tabled during your meeting, I understand, with senior members of the ruling ANC. Amongst others, which you have mentioned, you also propose, that a debt plan to recover the money owed by municipalities as well as government departments to Eskom needs to be implemented by deducting the money owed from their budget allocations. After these proposals were made to the ANC's senior members, how were they received by them? What was the response from them?
Sure. Look, we've met with the most senior leadership of the government and of the ANC several times. We are still engaging further to resolve this matter. It's a matter of the highest urgency. We want to have a plan in place, ideally by the State of the Nation address or the budget speech, to avoid a downgrading to junk status by Moody's. But our proposals have been very strongly welcomed by the government, by the President, by the ANC. We need to have further engagements to concretize them. We are proposing them formally at NEDLEC at the Presidential Working Committee meeting on Monday. And we need to get things moving very fast because we are simply running out of time. We cannot afford Eskom to go the route of SAA. We will not be able to manage such a calamity. And as you said, we are conditional upon our requirements. There must be a forensic audit of all of Eskom's expenditure and contracts. We must know where the money is being stolen, where the money is being lost, and that must come to an end. And everybody must pay what is due to Eskom, especially departments and municipalities which collectively owe Eskom almost 40 billion rand, and including residents of communities who owe about 20 billion rand. Because workers, we cannot invest in Eskom if the bleeding is not going to stop. So our conditions are very tight. We're going to assist Eskom, we're going to help save it and the economy, but it's not a blank check, it's not a friendship gift. It's about saving Eskom, the economy, and our members' jobs.
Yeah, as you mentioned, even when you spoke about the timelines there, you're also further hoping that these agreements or resolutions you're putting on the table can be put in place before the February 2020 budget speech. Is this a realistic time frame which you think you'll get a response in writing from your stakeholders?
Look, it's very, very tight, and our proposals were not just about Eskom, but were also about turning the economy around, stabilizing the public budget and the fiscus, about dealing with corruption, improving tax collection and so on. But right now the most important issue is about stabilizing Eskom, because that is at the epicenter of all our crises, both economically and in the state. We need to stabilize it because that can grow the economy. We're hoping to have a broad in-principle agreement with the government around Eskom, at least by the SONA or by the budget. Other issues are ongoing. Some of them are already gaining traction and momentum, like around customs interventions. But around Eskom, we have to get a deal in place urgently because it is the biggest crisis facing us as a nation.
All right, Cosatu's Matthew Parks, thank you so much for your time.